This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite TAS10, DSTV Audio Bouquet 802, and OpenView Bouquet, Channel 628.
It's definitely a full circle moment for myself and my guest here, because the first time I found out about the Africa Shared Value Summit, it was at a very historical space in Johannesburg at the Liliesleaf Farm, which is a historical environment actually in South Africa. Actually, that space could be closed down. There's a lot of politics around that. But that's how you actually saw the first implementation of shared value, where the summit was actually hosted at that particular gathering to maximize how that space can be actually utilized and can be multifunctional. And now we are right here in Nairobi at a different venue at the Radisson Blu, and it's a historical gathering because the Africa Shared Value has become bigger and is collaborating. I love the fact that it's also collaborating because it's also another way of maximizing opportunities. It's also linking with the ESG Summit, the Environmental and Social and Governance Summit. And we're speaking to one of the pioneers of this particular gathering, Tiekie Barnard, CEO and founder of SPA and head of the Summit Organizing Committee. Thank you, Tiekie, for joining us right here on Channel Africa.
Thank you, Ben, for inviting me.
Well, thank you for inviting us, actually. Let's talk about this. I'm thinking back a few years ago, and things were a little bit smaller, but not so small. It was actually a flourishing summit at that particular time. But we've seen actually a change in terms of the growth of this philosophy of shared value.
Yeah. So if we go back, I just want to go back for the listeners a little bit to what is this philosophy, as you just called it, of shared value. Shared value is a business management concept where organizations, through the current strategy, can actually address societal issues that's affecting the business. So for me personally, when I think about it, if you look at bigger organizations, smaller organizations can do it as well. You want to make money, but while you're making your money, you want to make a difference. And that's what shared value is about. So yes, the concept has grown over the continent. We've now got offices in South Africa, here in Kenya, as well as we opened in Nigeria on the 26th of June as well. Concept is growing, but for me personally, Ben, I have to say, Benjamin, it's not fast enough. Because, yeah.
Tell us why, yeah.
I think that the reason is that if you look at it it's a long-term commitment that you make. Because if you want to change strategy as an organization, it's not. And that's why we encourage the young businesses. So what we do is we train with young entrepreneurs on the concept of creating shared value so that they can set up their businesses or run their businesses right from the start, looking at how they can address societal issues. But with the young people, we already have that, because when they come up with business ideas, it is about addressing a societal issue within their communities. So for me, it's the bigger businesses still difficult for them to shift, and also the old thinking, very, very much the old thinking, and our leadership have to change to new thinking.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, people think that if you adopt probably a shared value mechanism, you're giving up on capitalism. But that's probably the wrong way of seeing this whole shared value thing. It's just probably making you streamline your work a little bit more and be more strategic. I don't think it actually minimizes the value of being a profit-making organization.
You're 100% right. It does not minimize it. We're sitting here today just having listened to the Safaricom launch of their sustainability report. And Safaricom is a shared value practitioner. They practice shared value in everything that they do, and they contribute, I think the last time I looked, 5% to the Kenyan GDP. So there is no, you look at Discovery in South Africa as well. I mean, how successful are they? So and they're changing lives because Discovery keep people healthy. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think that business needs to consciously look at it, because it is about looking from a strategic perspective as to how you can make a difference while you're making money. So you're not giving up your profits. Well, we're not saying that at all, but all we're asking is you've got to look at it from a practicing from a practicing perspective, to look at all of your stakeholders. So we talk about stakeholder capitalism and not shareholder capitalism, because a shareholder is one of your stakeholders. But what you've got to look after all of your stakeholders.
Expand on that idea.
So what if you think about it, when you run an organization, your stakeholders, it's your staff. How do you look after your staff? Do you pay them a living wage? Do you look after the women in your organization? Is there a place for them if their kids are sick? Can they go home? What is the policies and practices around that? And what is the gender equality practices as well? So that's from a staff perspective. From your supply chain perspective, when you look at that, is what is your supply chain doing? Are you sure that they pay their people a living wage? Are they actually doing what they, like you are? If you are trying to make a difference, are they also trying to do it? So you've got to influence your supply chain and all of your suppliers. Are you paying your suppliers some time? Because this is one of the things that we advocate for, because so many young businesses have to wait so long to be paid. So we advocating that all your big businesses or anybody that gets involved with younger businesses have to pay them 30 days, if not sooner, if they can. So it's putting all of those different practices in place from an organizational perspective, because just imagine if you pay your suppliers, you pay your supply chain quicker, or you pay your suppliers quicker, you increase the sustainability of that little organization. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right here at this particular gathering. Thank you for joining us right here on Channel Africa. Well, we're about to wrap up this conversation with our guest right here at the ASV and ESG Summit. I mean, what do you think are the key things that you want achieved at this year's gathering?
I think for me, what I would like to do is that people need to go away out of here having learned something, having empowered themselves with additional information that they can use when they go back to their organizations to start a process of change and making a difference. Not only, from in the lives of even their own lives, as well as the lives of the people that they work with in the company. So for me, action is the biggest thing that I would like to get out for people to get out of this, is to go back and take action.
Right, fantastic. We're going to leave it there, because I know that there are many things that you want to participate as one of the key organizers of this particular gathering. But Tiekie, keep doing the fantastic work, and then thank you for joining us today.
That podcast was courtesy of Channel Africa, the Africa Perspective.